Okay. All right. Steve and Ann coming to you live from sunny, rainy, warm, cold Bartlett, Illinois. Cool.
Yes.
Um, today's live is which food group do you belong to? And you can belong to a food group,
Whether you know it or not.
whether you know it or not.
Right.
You could be a veterinarian or a
Is that
meat
a food group?
or a meat eater. I'm kidding. So, so by food group, we mean, and here's the catch today, everything today is changing completely. Growing up as kids, we had the, what was that called? The FDA or the food pyramid.
The food pyramid.
The upside down, was it the upside down or whatever?
No, it was a food pyramid where we learned in home economics class because they still had things like that back before they had wood and fire when we were kids. And so we learned the food pyramid, and if you look at it today from the 60s, 70s, it's 70,000 portions of bread,
A day.
a day. And
As much bread as you could cram in your mouth in 12 hours. Or it could include pasta or bread.
There wasn't a lot of pasta. That wasn't it was harder to get. There was macaroni and cheese.
But
and
macaroni is pasta.
I guess it is.
Okay. And lasagna is pasta. Okay.
But when we were kids growing up, we didn't eat a lot of vegetables. It was heavy on the meat, heavy on the bread. Yeah. So
And Kool-Aid.
yeah, that was yeah. But we didn't have junk food growing up. I
Yes, we
didn't.
did.
No, there was available, but we didn't eat it because there were 7 kids in my family, and there were 8 kids in Steve's. So
Yes.
it's a lot of mouths to feed. Yeah. So
There was very little candy lying
Right.
around the house.
So a big loaf of puffy, non-nutritive, crude fiber bread went a long way. It did. But anyway, so we're talking about actually food trends that have come up now in the 2000s that we kind of have been watching and seeing. And we're part of the trends because we eat gluten-free.
Yeah, as well as much as we can.
Right.
It's not the law, but when I eat bread or I eat regular gluten pasta, made with wheat, it affects me very dramatically. I mean, I'm in the intolerant camp.
Right.
Not of people, but of gluten.
Well, that's debatable. So, some of the things that we've been watching, and when Steve does eat wheat, he's been known to get up and walk in the middle of the night with
And
no
go
clothes
downtown.
on. Yeah. So we had to stop the wheat. But anyway, I
Kidding.
digress. Kidding. Okay, so we did a little research on the newest food trends. One of them is the gluten-free diet. Everybody's doing that.
Right. But the catch is, and the whole, and this is according to my research, wheat today has a much, much higher gluten content than the natural wheat that was grown when we were kids. Now all the GMO stuff is, what do they call it? Engineered. Genetically modified, and it wreaks havoc with your system. And the crazy thing is with reactions to wheat is the symptoms are never the same for every person. Everybody has a different symptom for gluten intolerance, so you never really know.
But I find when we're in Europe, we don't react the same way.
Because
they're not genetically modified.
They don't allow GMO wheat.
Right. We like them for that.
It's cool. So one of the trends that's happening, which I just thought was funny, although I am very familiar with it, but gut-friendly menus. It sounds so disgusting.
Well, that's because you ate entrails when you were a kid.
Well, I'm just saying, but I'd like something gut-friendly. Well, what are you talking about? Good for the gut.
Well, I think that's things that are not sugary, that sort of thing.
Gut-friendly foods are fermented foods: sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, pickled eggs. Anything pickled is great. Not across the board. It depends how it's pickled.
What if you had a pickled liver?
A pickled liver? I might have one of those.
I hope not. Anyway, another thing that I've really been getting into is the cold brew coffee.
It's amazing.
I really, really like that. And of course, they sell it everywhere, but I've been getting it
Well,
at
not
Starbucks.
everywhere. They sell it in most industrialized areas.
Civilized areas, as we would probably call it. But we tend to be more civilized than not. So
Well-
if you're living in an uncivilized place, we really feel sorry for you.
But
Anyway,
Starbucks now has this. It's called Cold Brew Cascara, and it's cold brewed coffee with ice, and then they make this little foamy top, which is just just probably a half inch of this. It's foamed milk with something.
it's just milk with a little cascara syrup in it.
Right, and then they put a little salt on top,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't get a straw. You get a sippy cup.
Right. And it's delicious. I mean,
It's amazing.
My daughter Amanda told me about it, and I
We're
have-
hooked. We're hooked.
We're hooked.
We're hooked.
Another one that I thought was a little bit amazing is everybody is really getting back into Earl Grey tea.
I'm not,
I'm not either.
but
I mean,
it's happening
yeah, I heard.
in places where we're not happening.
Yeah, I guess we're not happening.
But the interesting thing is, food is, as I mean, everybody knows, it's a big part of our lives, and it's supposed to include the nutrients, the sustenance of life. It's supposed to, but in today's economy, it doesn't. It doesn't have the
In
nutritional.
today's economy,
Well, in what am I looking for? In today's world, there you go. Today's world, the food just doesn't have the nutrients. It doesn't have the minerals. It doesn't have the volume of vitamins that it's supposed to have. So
that's why we're taking a lot of extra supplements.
so we totally supplement everything, and we'll be like the broken record. As you get older, your body can't absorb nutrients and minerals the way that it did when you were younger. So you need
Yeah,
to.
it doesn't absorb insults anymore because you're like, yeah, I don't care you think that about me. Don't care anymore. Don't absorb
not going in,
nutrients.
not going
don't
in.
absorb
I've got
insults.
the shield up.
Yeah, yep. I've had that said to me 100 times. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Anyway, sorry. So Steve found this one out. The donut trends. I know there's a lot of the zombie donuts in Portland and all the really interesting fillings like squid ink filling. That's one that we got to run out and get. And then how
I
about
wonder if they have it at. I'll have the donut with the squid ink
yes?
filling.
Does it have squid tentacle sprinkles on top? Because I'd like that. And then I think my favorite is the beef gravy filling. So do you get?
With a chocolate glaze on top.
Yes.
Ooh,
Ooh, yeah.
that could be good.
I'll have some extra beef gravy with my donut, please.
Well, I mean, it's just sweetbread with gravy. I mean, I guess that sounds disgusting.
Well,
But anyway,
I don't eat donuts anyway, but I think that's
I have a
funny.
very discriminating palate, and not in a good way. It's just I don't like a lot of stuff, so I can't eat. When you go out to dinner with me, it's a challenge.
It is.
So I'd like this, but I don't want that, and I
Right.
don't want this, and I don't want that, and don't put this in it, and don't put that in it, and then see what it's like when you bring it to me. And they're
Steve
like, "Why
kind
are
of,
you here?"
Well, you reinvent the recipe, and not in a good way.
Well, I try not to. But I mean, today we were out for a burger, and I have to tell them I don't like raw onions. I mean, if you have a raw onion on anything, it tastes like only a raw onion. Period. The end.
Yeah, but that's sort of in your opinion.
Well, but I mean, that's just my opinion. I have an aversion to raw onions. I'm not really sure why, but they
So
don't agree.
Steve was a vampire. Garlic wouldn't work on him, but raw onions would.
Right. Yes, you put a big onion around my neck. It'll
Ooh,
kill me.
Yeah, that'll ward off a lot of
Instant.
things. So, also, small batch gin. Now, I don't drink gin, but a lot of people, a
It's
lot
the
of
rage.
companies, yeah, it is the rage.
I love gin. Actually, yes and no. I've had some of these small batch gins, and they don't taste like what I think gin should taste like. They're kind of tweaking it, and God bless them for that. But I'm kind of old school, and
Well, it doesn't taste what I think like it's going to taste like. It tastes
Right.
like crap to me.
Crap with a bit of tonic in it.
I
And
don't
then
even
we'll
like the
scrap
tonic.
some lime on it.
I don't
That'll
even
work.
like that. And then,
This is the new big rage.
yeah, the small batch gin.
No.
Oh, the
Tanzanian barbecue?
yeah, I looked it up. It's an East African, and you might like it. It seems like it's a cross between Indian food and then has some probably African influences. And
Which is what?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
So go out and get yourself some.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because I'd never heard of it before, but it was on the list of the new rage in foods for 2018. So, if you're looking for something the next time you're in the city, go to look for a Tanzanian barbecue restaurant, and you'll probably be very hungry for the rest of the night because you won't find one.
Well, just a little side note. When Charlie Trotter was still alive, Steve and I were given a very nice birthday gift by some friends of ours to see Charlie to go eat there.
Yes.
And it's $400
Plus,
plus. So we had a coupon for $400. So
it's kind of an oxymoron if you think about it, going to Charlie Trotter's with a coupon. It's sort of like...
yeah, we
does-
felt yeah. But anyway, so we went in to the restaurant and
It's here in Chicago.
not anymore though. It's
Well,
gone.
yeah, he's gone, and it's gone.
So yeah, we go in there. It's in a house. So they seat us in it looks like one of the bedrooms. There were no beds in it, but they had tables around. It was kind of awkward. No music,
Yeah,
very quiet.
It's quiet. It's sort of like going into a room where everybody's talking about you, but you can't hear them.
Right. So, they bring you, it's like 16 courses. One is a butterfly wing on a pencil.
with a
On a
piece of
pencil.
on a pencil with a piece of parsley on
Yes.
top. And it was like
And then another one looks like somebody went and put
food coloring on it.
yes, and then there was a little spramp of something I couldn't identify. But now I have to say, I'm not super sophisticated in my palate.
Right. Me either.
I'm a really good cook, but I don't cook like that. And so all through the meal, we were getting stuff, and we were like, and then
We couldn't. Well, we could eat most of it, but it was like, is this food?
well, it
Or
was like
is
a
there-
teaspoon.
Yeah.
So we thankfully, and our friends, we love them dearly, but we left the restaurant and we immediately went and got some
No.
cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
At McDonald's. It was just down the street, and it was like we were starving.
We're so
The
classless.
only thing that saved the meal was, and actually it was kind of funny, because we got some wine.
It was
and-
terrible.
And the first glass we got was horrible. I mean,
It was like pigeon swill.
that's a new one. Pigeon swill. So then they brought us another glass, and
Sorry.
and it was better, but it wasn't really that great.
It's
so
the kind of wine that
clearly
when
we're
you drink,
thinking-
you're going like this. Mm. Delicious.
And it's sort of like, clearly we shouldn't be here. And actually it was funny because at the table next to us there was a couple that had flown into Chicago from Toronto for dinner at Charlie Trotter's. And they were looking at us like, what is going on here? This is weird. And so we didn't feel so bad because we had compatriots at the next table.
And then the other side of us was an older guy with his call girl. That was
yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we digress. I think our last one. I don't know if any of you guys cook with butter, but ghee, which is clarified butter, and
Is
it's
that
Indian.
That's the guy next door, Guy.
It is ghee. I thought that was your name when we were in France. When we're in France, we have different names. He's Guy, and I'm Genevieve. But anyway, we digress. But this ghee is really great instead of using olive oil or oils, and you
Which
can get it.
the oils are really bad for
Well, everybody
your
knows.
heart,
Yeah.
and they cause cholesterol buildup in your veins, and it's not beef or that kind of thing. But anyway, that's just what I
We'll
was
just
saying.
have to go back to the beef gravy donut.
Yes.
If you want beef, eat the donut. And maybe it's fake beef flavoring. So if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegetarian, you could eat the beef gravy donut. I'm not really sure. But then, we know people that are either vegetarians.
Or veterinarians.
That is a food group. Is it?
I just like saying it.
Yeah, me too. There's I think it's pronounced veterinarian, like that, and then it's a food group. Okay.
Okay.
So then people that are vegans that eat nothing.
Except vegs.
I mean, how can you live without eating an egg? I like eggs. But anyway, those are just a lot. You know, we have a lot of friends that eat a lot of different things. My best
We
friend.
have a lot of friends that don't like us.
Yeah, that's true. My best friend is Indian, and so, you know, she's trying to get me to eat. I have eaten Indian food.
Yeah,
I've tried. I really
tried.
tried. I think we're weird.
Well, it's a whole different world of spices that I just don't.
I don't
care
like
for.
savory foods that are supposed to be savory that are sweet with cinnamon and allspice. And then my son-in-law Doug is Korean, and I like the Korean barbecue and a lot of those sorts of things. So we're not complete sticks in the mud.
No.
We tend.
And we like Italian and French, not so much the German. And God bless everybody, but when we were in London,
We did have a couple of good meals.
We
ate
did.
at the pubs.
yes, and
pubs had
actually
good meals.
outside of London, we had some
In Putney.
amazing in Putney. We had some amazing
Yeah, really
meals,
great meals.
but they were basically foreign restaurants. They weren't your
Yeah.
typical. But God bless them. I love the Brits.
Well,
They're
I
wonderful.
mean, we have some wonderful friends that are British.
and they
so-
love Aunt's cooking.
And yes, they do. They do. And they make fun of their food too. So we don't mean to be mean. Well, maybe we do.
Well, we're not.
But
trying to.
anyway, try some of the latest food trends. I dare you.
Especially if you find any restaurants that have Tanzanian barbecue, shoot us a memo and we'll look it up.
Yeah, and go get yourself some of those delicious donuts with beef gravy or squid
squid
ink
ink.
filling,
Mhm.
and get
It's
some
the
gin
new-
to drink with it because you're gonna need it. All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
That was fun.
And.